Ever paused and wondered what you'd do if a sudden health scare hit while you re-home alone with no one nearby to lend a hand? As we get into our later years, those quiet moments at home can feel peaceful, but they also remind us how important it is to be ready for the unexpected. A heart attack, for instance, doesn't always announce itself loudly. It can creep up subtly, especially when we're by ourselves. That's why Healthy Madam is here today to walk you through 7 vital actions to take if a heart attack strikes and you re-alone. These aren't complicated medical procedures. They're straightforward steps that can make a real difference in those crucial early moments, helping you stay in control until help arrives. Healthy Madam has spent years researching and sharing emergency health strategies to help seniors navigate unexpected challenges with confidence and calm. We've gathered insights from trusted health sources and real experiences from folks just like you, all to empower you with knowledge that could one day be a lifesaver. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear plan that feels doable and reassuring. You might even think, "I'm glad I know this now." Let's dive in together, step by step. Number 1. Tuning into those quiet signals your body might be sending. Have you ever brushed off a little discomfort, thinking it's just age catching up, or maybe something you ate? Many of us in our 70s and 80s do that, especially when we're relaxing at home alone. But ignoring those hints can turn a manageable situation into something more serious. Let me share a quick story from the Healthy Madam community. There was a gentleman in his late 70s who was enjoying his afternoon crossword in the living room when he noticed a nagging ache spreading from his upper back to his jaw. At first, he figured it was from sitting too long with his arthritis acting up, and he almost got up to make some tea to shake it off. But as the feeling lingered, mixing with a bit of queasiness and trouble catching his breath, he realized it wasn't his usual joint pain. That hesitation nearly cost him precious time, and later at the doctor's, he learned how close he'd come to bigger trouble. To make this even more relatable, consider another example from our group: a woman in her mid-20s who was baking cookies for her grandchildren's visit. She felt a subtle burning in her upper abdomen, which she dismissed as indigestion from sampling the dough, a habit she'd had for years. But when it spread to her shoulders and she broke into a cold sweat despite the warm kitchen, it dawned on her that this was different. She recalled a conversation with her Bridge Club friends about how heart issues in women often masquerade as stomach problems, and that prompted her to pay attention. Stories like these highlight how symptoms can blend into everyday aches, especially for seniors dealing with chronic conditions like osteoporosis or acid reflux, which can mask the real issue. You see, heart attacks in seniors often don't hit with that movie-style chest grip. They can start as mild pressure, like a heavy weight on your shoulders or back, or even mimic indigestion with nausea and fatigue, shortness of breath without any exertion, or dizziness that makes the room spin a bit. These are common, especially for women over 65 or those with diabetes, where symptoms can be even vaguer. According to experts, these atypical signs occur because aging changes how nerves transmit pain, and conditions like neuropathy can dull the classic warnings. Waiting to see if it passes means the heart muscle might start suffering from lack of oxygen, leading to lasting damage or worse. The key is not to wait for certainty. Leaving even 5 minutes can increase mortality risk by 10 to 15% in some cases, as blood flow to the heart diminishes rapidly. For those with hearing aids or glasses, symptoms might include sudden vision, blurriness, or ringing in the ears, often overlooked as device malfunctions. Another layer is emotional dismissal. Many seniors, proud of their resilience, tell themselves it's nothing to avoid worrying family. But think about it this way: recognizing early allows for better outcomes, like smaller scars on the heart or quicker recovery. Here's what to do instead. As soon as you feel a combination of these off feelings lasting more than a couple of minutes, especially if they're new or worsening, stop everything and acknowledge it as a potential emergency. Jot down the time it started if you can, and prepare to act on the next steps. This early awareness gives you the head start you need turning whispers into actionable alerts before things escalate. Practically, keep a symptom checklist by your phone note. Things like pressure lasting 5 minutes or sweating without heat. If you have a smartwatch with heart monitoring, glance at it for irregular rhythms, but don't rely solely on tech. Your intuition matters. Discuss with your doctor during checkups what your personal red flags might be based on your history. For instance, if you've had prior angina, any repeat sensation warrants action. Share this knowledge with friends over coffee. One community member started a health chat group where they quiz each other on signs, making it fun and memorable. Remember, it's better to check and be wrong than ignore and regret. This mindset shift has helped countless seniors turn potential crises into managed events, preserving their independence longer. Number 2. Reaching out for professional support without delay. Do you sometimes think twice about bothering others, even in a pinch, because you've always handled things on your own? It's a common trait among us seniors who've lived independently for decades. But in a moment like this, holding back can mean missing out on the swift care that's essential. From our Healthy Madam followers, we heard about a widow in her early 80s who was knitting by the window one evening when a wave of sweat and tightness hit her. She considered calling her neighbor first, worried about making a fuss if it turned out to be nothing. Minutes ticked by as she debated, and her symptoms grew, leaving her weaker and more disoriented. Thankfully, she eventually dialed for help, but the delay meant her heart had worked harder than it should have. Expanding on that, another tale comes from a retired mechanic in his 70s who was tinkering in his garage workshop, a solitary hobby he cherished. When a sharp twinge radiated down his arm, he thought it was from lifting tools awkwardly, echoing old work injuries. He pondered driving to the clinic himself, a habit from his self-reliant days, but as nausea set in, he remembered a radio segment on how paramedics can start life-saving interventions en route. That nudged him to call, and it turned out to be pivotal. His EKG in the ambulance showed the attack progressing. These narratives underscore how our generation's stoicism, forged through tougher times, can sometimes hinder us. We might minimize symptoms to avoid burdening the system, but emergency responders prefer false alarms over missed opportunities. Experts note that every minute without oxygen can damage heart tissue. And for seniors with possibly frailer systems or other conditions like high blood pressure, that time adds up fast. Driving yourself isn't safe either. You might faint or cause harm on the road, and hospitals prefer you arrive with paramedics who can start treatment en route. In rural areas where many seniors live, response times might be longer, amplifying the need for immediate calls. Plus, if you're on blood thinners or have pacemakers, dispatchers can prep teams accordingly. Delays often stem from denial or fear of costs, but remember, Medicare covers most emergency transports. So, the solution is clear. Pick up the phone and call emergency services right away, even if you're not 100% sure. Tell them your symptoms calmly, mention you're alone, and stay on the line. They'll guide you and send help that's equipped to handle everything from monitoring your heart to administering aid immediately. This one call activates a team that's trained for exactly these scenarios, buying you safety while you focus on staying steady. To make it easier, program emergency numbers into your speed dial or use voice commands like "Hey Siri, call 911." If speech is slurred, a possible symptom, phones have SOS features that auto-dial and share location. Practice this quarterly, perhaps during family visits, so it's muscle memory. One tip from our community: leave a note on your fridge with your address and key health info for responders. And if you're in a high-rise or gated community, inform the dispatcher of access details up front. Sharing these habits has turned scary solos into stories of triumph for many, like the widow who now advocates at her senior center, teaching others that calling isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Number 3. Using a common household item to ease the strain on your system. Ever kept something simple in your medicine cabinet, not realizing it could be a quiet hero in a tough spot? For many seniors living solo, It's easy to overlook these everyday helpers until the need arises. One story that stuck with the healthy madam. Team involved a retired teacher in his 70s who was reading in bed late at night when pressure built in his chest, accompanied by arm tingles. He remembered having some pills nearby, but was unsure if they were the right kind or if it was too late to bother. As he waited, the discomfort intensified. And doctors later explained how a blood clot might have grown unchecked, worsening the blockage in his arteries. Building on this, think of a grandmother in her late 60s who was quilting in her cozy den, a peaceful evening ritual. When a dull ache settled in her chest, she flashed back to her husband's heart scare years ago, where a quick intervention made all the difference. Hesitant due to her sensitive stomach, a common senior concern, debated, but recalling a doctor's advice, she acted. Her cardiologist praised that choice, noting it likely minimized scar tissue. Seniors are often on medications that could interact, or we might worry about stomach upset from taking things without food. But in this case, the benefits far outweigh those minor risks if you are not allergic or advised against it by your doctor. Studies from places like the Mayo Clinic show that acting quickly here can thin the blood just enough to slow clot formation, potentially reducing heart damage by precious percentages. The science is straightforward. Aspirin inhibits platelets, preventing them from clumping, which can restore partial flow in minutes. For those with ulcers, low dose might be pre-approved, but always confirm. If you're vegetarian or have dietary restrictions, ensure it's uncoated for faster absorption. The practical fix: grab a regular adult-strength aspirin, about 325 milligrams if you have it handy, and chew it thoroughly rather than swallowing whole. This gets it working faster in your bloodstream. Keep some in easy spots, like your bedside or kitchen, and check with your doctor ahead of time to confirm it's safe for you. It's a small, proactive move that can bridge the gap until professionals arrive. Additional tips include storing it with a small cracker to nibble if stomach sensitive, or using baby aspirin 81 milligrams. If that's all available, though less ideal, it's better than none. Rotate stock to avoid expiration, and label bottles clearly for shaky hands. In our community, one member created emergency kits in zip bags for purse or car, including aspirin and symptom cards. If nitroglycerin is prescribed for prior angina, take that too, but only as directed. It dilates vessels for relief. Discuss alternatives like clopidogrel if aspirin allergic during appointments. These layers of preparation turn a simple pill into a powerful shield, as seen in countless recoveries where patients credit that chew for milder outcomes and faster rehab. Number 4. Adjusting your position to give your body a much-needed break. Have you found yourself pushing through discomfort because sitting still feels like giving in, especially after years of staying active despite aches? It's understandable, but in solitude, that determination can sometimes work against us. We recall a tale from a healthy madam community member, a 68-year-old gardener who felt a sudden heaviness while pottering around her empty house. Her instinct was to walk it off, maybe tidy up a bit to distract herself. But that extra movement made her heart race more, amplifying the fatigue and dizziness. To deepen this, imagine a former nurse in her 80s, alone in her bungalow after a lifetime of caring for others. When shortness of breath hit during her morning routine, she tried stretching as she'd done for back pain, but it only worsened the pressure, nearly causing a fall. Reflecting later, she shared how her professional knowledge clashed with panic, but resting promptly allowed her heart to stabilize. For older adults, whose hearts might already be dealing with age-related changes like stiffer vessels, any unnecessary activity increases the demand for oxygen, potentially speeding up complications like irregular beats or fainting. Pacing or standing tense uses energy your body can't spare right now, and for those with joint issues, it risks trips over rugs or clutter common in long-lived homes. Research indicates that exertion during onset can elevate blood pressure, exacerbating blockages. If you're overweight or have COPD, the strain multiplies, turning mild symptoms into crises. Instead, Here's the gentle approach. Find a comfortable spot to sit with your back supported, or lie down on your side if that feels better, keeping your head slightly raised with a pillow to ease breathing. Loosen any tight clothing, like collars or belts, and avoid crossing your legs. This reduces the workload on your heart, helps maintain blood flow, and keeps you safer from falls while waiting. It's about conserving your strength wisely, turning rest into your ally. For added comfort, place a cushion under your knees. If lying down to relieve lower back pressure, a boon for arthritis sufferers. If dizziness persists, elevate legs slightly to boost circulation, but only if no chest pain worsens. Open a nearby window for fresh air if reachable without effort, as oxygen helps, but don't strain. Pre-plan by clearing paths in your home and keeping a favorite chair accessible. Our members suggest mindfulness apps for waiting, playing soft music to soothe nerves. These tweaks have transformed fearful waits into calmer interludes, with many reporting easier paramedic handoffs and better post-event energy. Number 5. Focusing on your inner rhythm to maintain composure. Do those moments of unease ever make your mind whirl, wondering if help will come in time? Alone in the house, it's natural for worry to build. But letting it take over can heighten the stress on an already vulnerable system. A poignant example came from a senior in our Healthy Madam circle, an 82-year-old who lived in a quiet apartment and experienced nausea with chest unease one quiet morning. Panic started rising, quickening her breaths and making her feel more lightheaded, which could have triggered further strain on her heart through elevated stress hormones. Let's expand with another heartfelt account. A veteran in his 70s, accustomed to high-pressure situations from his military days, was whittling wood in his shed when symptoms emerged. His mind raced to worst-case scenarios, accelerating his pulse and deepening the ache. But drawing on old training, he shifted focus, later crediting it for preventing arrhythmia. For folks over 65, who might have slower recovery from adrenaline surges or underlying anxiety from past health scares, this cycle can make symptoms feel overwhelming, possibly leading to hyperventilation or worse heart rhythms. Ignoring your emotional state means missing a chance to steady the ship's stress releases cortisol, constricting vessels further. If you've lost a spouse to heart issues, trauma might amplify fear, turning solitude into a mental battle. The calming resolution: practice slow, deliberate breathing. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold briefly, then exhale through your mouth for 6. Repeat this, perhaps visualizing a peaceful memory like a family gathering or a favorite walk. If your phone is nearby, put the call on speaker to free your hands and let dispatchers reassure you. This technique, backed by health guidelines from sources like Johns Hopkins, lowers your heart rate, improves oxygen delivery, and helps you stay alert until aid arrives. Make it a habit in daily life too, so it's second nature when needed. Variations include box breathing 4-4-4-4 for those who find it easier, or humming softly on exhales to vibrate the vagus nerve for relaxation. If prone to anxiety, pair with affirmations like "help is coming," "I'm doing my best." Community tips: join online senior yoga sessions for breathwork practice, or keep a scented handkerchief nearby. Lavender calms. These additions have helped members not just survive, but thrive post-event, with reduced PTSD and stronger emotional resilience. Number 6. Making it easier for rescuers to reach you quickly. Ever worried that even after calling for help, little barriers around the house might slow things down when every second counts? For seniors who cherish their independent living, these small details can slip our minds until they're suddenly vital. Here is an experience shared within the Healthy Madam group. A 75-year-old widower was watching TV in his den when symptoms crept in. And after calling emergency services, he stayed put but forgot about his locked front door. When the paramedics arrived, they had to force entry, which not only delayed care by a minute or two, but also added unnecessary stress and property hassle afterward. To illustrate further, picture a book club enthusiast in her 70s. Alone after her weekly Zoom meeting, feeling jaw pain intensify. She'd called, but her security system required a code she struggled to relay clearly amid dizziness. The brief holdup meant her oxygen levels dipped lower, complicating initial treatment. In older homes or apartments, doors with multiple locks or security chains are common. And for those with mobility issues like knee pain, getting up to unlock might seem risky, but leaving it secured can mean precious time lost while help waits outside. Medical experts emphasize that seamless access allows immediate intervention, preventing potential worsening of the situation. In snowy regions or with pet gates, extra obstacles compound delays. The smart step here: if you reable and it's safe to do so without straining yourself, unlock your front door or any entry points after making the call. Prop it slightly open if you feel secure, or inform the dispatcher of any access codes for gates or buildings. Consider installing a key box outside or a smart lock in advance for peace of mind. This foresight ensures help flows right in. Focusing on you without distractions. Extra ideas: label your house number clearly visible from the street, and if you have pets, note their location to avoid surprises. For apartment dwellers, buzz in responders via intercom if possible. Our followers recommend annual safety audits with family, testing locks and paths. If mobility limited, use a reaching tool to unlock from afar. These preparations have saved time and reduced anxiety, turning potential chaos into smooth rescues. Number 7. Harnessing your everyday tech for added support. Have you overlooked the handy features on your phone that could speak for you when words are hard to find? Many of us seniors keep our devices simple, but these built-in tools can be real game changers in isolation. From the Healthy Madam community, we learned of a 79-year-old lady who was alone in her kitchen when dizziness and pressure hit hard. She called for help, but grew too weak to hold the phone or explain her allergies and medications fully. Without her device's emergency setup, the responders had to guess at some details, which could have complicated things if she'd lost consciousness. Adding depth, consider a hobbyist painter in his 80s, midway through a canvas when symptoms struck. His phone's ID feature listed his pacemaker details and blood type, allowing paramedics to adjust care swiftly when he fainted briefly. For older adults managing multiple health conditions or on various pills, not having quick info ready means potential delays in tailored care, especially if symptoms escalate fast. Health resources highlight how these features provide critical data instantly. If hearing impaired, subtitles or text relays become vital. Here's how to make it work. Switch your emergency call to speaker mode to keep hands free and allow dispatchers to hear you better. Then ensure your phone's medical ID is filled out with basics like allergies, blood type, and contacts accessible even from a locked screen on most smartphones. Set it up now in your health app. Takes just minutes and could relay vital info if you can't. This turns your phone into a silent advocate, bridging gaps until help takes over. Tips include organ donor status or DNR preferences if applicable, and update after med changes. For Android users, add emergency contacts via settings. iPhone folks, use the Health app. Practice with grandkids for fun tech lessons. Wearables like Fitbits can auto-alert contacts too. These enhancements have empowered members, making tech a trusted companion in crises. These 7 actions are a solid foundation for feeling more prepared. But Healthy Madam knows emergencies are the only health hurdles seniors face. Check out our video on gentle exercises to strengthen your heart daily, right here in the link below. It's full of easy routines that fit right into your routine. No equipment needed. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these steps feels like the biggest eye-opener for your daily life? Drop it in the comments and let's chat about how we can all stay a bit safer. If this video gave you that extra peace of mind, Healthy Madam would appreciate a like or share with a friend who might need it too. And if you'd like more tips like these delivered straight to you, hit subscribe and that little bell here to keep the conversation going with content that is just for us. Thanks for spending this time together. Take care, and we'll see you soon.